Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Let's go. Hope you're doing well, legends. Let's see what's going on here with the price of Bitcoin. It does look like it wants to have a cheeky pump all the way up to the highs again. The movement down does look a little bit corrective. So let's see what's going on here with New York Open for the price of Bitcoin, guys. Okay, let me go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community. Let's go. Vamos. Hello, everybody. Smash up the like button if you do enjoy the content. Vamos a analizar el precio de Bitcoin. All right. Afternoon. Daniel Singleton, my man, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining the stream. Abrazos de jueves. Paz Maria Vallejos, much love to you as always. Hello, Andy. Is there any chance of an SFP of 98K? Higher high of yesterday to form a double top. Any major downtrend from there? Yo. Yes, we're going to discuss that, okay? We are here to discuss that eventually, right? Shorts are really looking attractive. However, the movement down is not too convincing to be a motive wave to the downside, guys. Okay, so that gives you a good chance that the highs could be taken. You can get fit in a diagonal here in this movement to the downside, which would mean a lower high to take out the lows is technically possible. However, we got the highest amount of volume in this movement of yesterday. We always want to try and label the highest amount of volume in your wave 3 when we do zoom out on the higher time frames, meaning that there is a chance, of course, for another high. But let me be straight here. The big move has already kind of developed in the last few days, right? We cannot expect here major blasting moves to the upside. This is the zone where we need to understand that a pullback is very much gearing up. Taking out the high again or not. I prefer taking out the high based on the local information that we have, right? And we're going to go in detail on that on the 15-minute time frame. So it does favor, the trend is your friend. It does favor that we do take out the highs again, guys, for the moment, right? So yeah, you can maybe, take in a small little short position, okay, inside of yesterday's price action to 98K. We just barely scratched almost $98,000. That is where we have a lot of resistance when we do zoom out here on the price action of Bitcoin. Something that is interesting here when we go to the daily time frame and we zoom out and we get the fixed volume we get the VRVP, right? The volume profile, the entire range. This is currently where we are, right? We are at the biggest cluster since November of 2024. The biggest peak is where we are reacting at this moment, right? Since we had the pump yesterday. So considering the volume profile, we are at the biggest point of control, right? From the last 13, 14 months. So inevitably, yeah, this is a big barrier, of course. It is a big barrier. We got the anchored VWAP. Someone pointed out this yesterday. I love anchored VWAPs from major pivot highs or lows. So obviously the pivot low is very, very important for the anchored VWAP here at 80,500. And the anchored VWAP from all-time high is also very important. So this is where we currently are at the moment. There is some resistance at 98K, there's no doubt. We got a 4-hourly order block as well. Okay, so we got the point of control from the entire range. We got a 4-hourly order block as well, right over here. Not that I would say it's a major resistance, but on the anchored VWAP on its own, from all-time high, is something. It is something, and the reaction is there, right? This is when we go to the lower time frames and understand, well, if we are hitting this resistance, right, point of control since November of 2024, anchored VWAP, the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high to the pivot low, which was not hit, I have to say. We missed it by $50 or so. 382 from higher time frame is very, very good, I have to say, but we missed it. We did miss by touching the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high, anchored VWAP. There's a lot going on here at this $98,000, right? With that big point of control, looking at the last 13 months. So the resistance is there, and we are seeing, of course, the price with the pump of yesterday, you know, getting this rejection and, you know, getting a little bit of dancing momentum, right, in the last 24 hours since we hit that high below 98K. And this is where you need to zoom in on the 15-minute time frame, right? 15-minute, 1 hour time frame, and really analyze a little bit of, okay, you know, am I convinced about this movement being an impulsive move, a motive wave to the downside, and it doesn't look too sexy for it to be a motive wave. Of course, there is a way of fitting here a motive wave. That would be a leading diagonal, okay? Leading diagonal, which would be like so. Not the most beautiful leading diagonal, but it is technically possible. Okay, you can technically fit in a leading diagonal here to the downside, which would be a 3-wave move down, the bounce here, of course, another 3-wave to the downside, the bounce, and then the 3-wave down here as well. You can fit a 5-wave motive wave in a leading diagonal, but leading diagonals don't have the highest probability. Price moving down to sweep up these lows at the moment, so it does look like that we could have a sideways rangy structure here. We're going to go through the local time frame 1 second, okay? We've got New York open with a bit of a movement to the downside. We need a check here, of course, the ES, and just zoom in to see what is going on here at New York open. Let's go, let's see. Yeah, we could let's see the next information here on the price action on the lower time frames. I want to go through that, but we are pumping right now with ever so slightly with New York open. Nothing too major. Hang on a minute, I need to go and sort out the dogs because they're going absolutely bananas. Yeah, we're going to go through this local structure. Now that we are losing these higher lows, it's getting a little bit disturbing, of course. I would say that we could be forming a sideways corrective structure. We need to take a look at CVD divergence, which we are getting a pretty nice sell-off at the moment. Lots of shorts entering the market, which is very, very interesting to see, of course. That is actually pretty good for the bullish case. Let's see how the price develops in the next coming minutes. But if we get a solid pump to the upside, if this doesn't get any good follow through to the downside and we start bouncing very, very nicely, it will be looking quite bullish. Okay, so it's important for this third wave to the downside that does not get continuation down very strongly, right? So find some support and get a solid bounce. This structure will be looking bullish if we do see this movement to the downside failing. Okay, that's what we need to see at the moment. It needs to stop, get a significant bounce, and then longs, scalp longs to potentially hit the high could be interesting. We want to be extremely aware of the momentum, the resistance that we have on the higher time frame, because of course, you know, I would say it's sensible to, you know, look for swing shorts. You can position yourself with a small amount, because if we do get the rollover with some significant volume, this is the kind of moment where when the price dumps, it's going to dump relatively strong. Okay, I think it's, you know, when we get the reversal, obviously when price tops out, you know, we are looking for a significant dump down, right? And it's going to be difficult to position yourself in that short position unless you're waiting for the bounce that could take many days eventually, right? Because there's no proper signs of weakness at the moment. The reading is difficult. You know, I would still say that the movement down looks corrective. However, when we consider Elliott wave theory and when we consider the volume, the big move happened. Usually when you have such a significant move like this, there's only so much more power that you can get to the upside, right? This is the kind of zone where you're not expecting the price to shoot up to $106,000, right, in the coming days. To get solid, strong continuation would be low probability in this case. So now the overall question in this zone is banging your head, right, to see if we're going to take out the highs again, right? Do we take out the highs again before we roll over, or do we roll over from here? This reminds me very much at this scenario right over here. This pump that we did get, okay, this was back in the first week of December, where you are grinding here to the upside, big pump, and then you're grinding here to the upside, hitting some resistance, hitting the highs of the range, SFP. And it's like, do we take out the highs one more time and then roll over, or do we roll over from here? So that's kind of the stage of where we are at the moment. Higher probability on the higher time frame that we are looking for a move down. The question is, do we hit the highs again or not? And when we consider that positioning ourselves right in that short, you can enter with 0.5% and have a little bit of room here of stop loss and decide if it's good to add to the position on the rejection, on the SFP, on the double top. But that's how I would manage a kind of a short position here at this this $97,000 range. You always have that option to say, you know, we're trying to figure out if we're going to hit the high again. Do we hit the high again? Do we hit the high again? It looks corrective. Boom, boom, boom. Well, when we zoom out, we need to understand that, hey, we've had some pretty interesting momentum up. We're just analyzing the internal waves, and it's all battling about, do we get one more 4 in 5? Do we get do we have one more high or not? That is the question. And when we realize, when we do the analysis on that, do we get one more high? Do we get one more high? Well, you're looking for one more high for the pullback, right? So you understand the probability side of the market, getting the movement down at some point. So that all is, how are you going to manage your risk with the, taking a trade here? Of course, it's very nice to get into double tops. I mean, the anchored VWAP, just to get into a potential small position, because you're literally catching the rejection of the resistance of the anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP, is it a solid entry? Well, it's a bit of a sniper trade, right? It's like we hit the resistance on the higher time frame, and I want to already position myself in a short, because I understand that in the coming days we're going to roll over. Or do we take out the highs again? Then that's all about managing your trade, managing your risk, not not trading irresponsibly with saying, I'm going to add another 5%, right, to my trade because it needs to roll over. It does not need to roll over, right? It doesn't need to do anything. The probabilities are higher that it is going to get a pullback at some stage eventually, and breaking out the local highs is unlikely to get a successful big move, right, of $5,000, give or take, right? So that's currently where we are at the moment on the higher time frame. On the higher time frame, we realize that a move to the downside is high probability based on this structure, based on the movement here to the upside, based on the local movement to the upside. You can already fit in a 5-wave impulse. You can fit in a 5-wave impulse. Now, the overall question is, do we get another 4th wave and another 5th wave? That is the main issue at the moment, right? We know that we're coming to the end stages, but do we get one more high or not? And that's obviously one of those scenarios where you can miss the movement down because you're trying to look for the last move to take out the highs, because I want to get into a double top. But the fact that today, with the movement down that we had early this morning, when you overlap the previous high, when you've overlapped the previous high here, because this move to the upside that we had yesterday with high volume, when you get beneath this pivot, that is already telling you that you are in that 4-5 territory. Because if this would have been something more explosive or extending, all right, to the upside to go to 100k plus or whatever, right, just continue the momentum, then that would have been something way more bullish. However, topping out a little bit here at 98k and overlapping this pivot is already telling you that, okay, you know, we could be seeing the 4-5 wave territory at the moment here. So that's when you realize that, okay, you know, this is losing the momentum. Do we take out the highs again or not? That is the main question. But ultimately, taking out the highs again or not taking out the highs again, you know, we are looking for a significant pullback because the momentum here has lost, kind of confirming here the overlap from this pivot. Okay, today as it was standing with the information, we were having still the highest probability to still continue the uptrend momentum. However, this movement down is getting a bit aggressive on New York Open, getting a bit of a rollover here, which is looking a little bit aggressive. But it's this movement down that's been a little bit not too beautiful. Okay, not too beautiful. Now a leading diagonal is, you know, you can't fit a leading diagonal. You can't fit here multiple 1-2s or any motive wave. The only level, the only zone that we got that you can potentially count something that has a 5-wave move to the downside is literally this pullback from all of the pullbacks that we've had coming all the way up here. This is the only first one that you can squeeze in a motive wave in 5-wave structure, okay, which is a leading diagonal, which is not the favorite scenario, but you need to consider it where it's the first one out of the major uptrend that we've got. Okay, so with that said, eventually you just need to consider that this one already has the potential of forming a lower high, which there's lots of overlap. Leading diagonal is never the preferred scenario. And right now we're getting this strong move down, right? This is looking very, very strong to the downside. We were grinding up here to the upside ever so slightly, but the price lost the momentum here with this movement down on New York Open. But you do realize, as explained on yesterday's stream, legends, okay, as explained on yesterday's stream, when we do get this pump to overlap this pivot high, the momentum is getting lost. Despite taking out the high again or not, the momentum is already shifting. You're already flattening out here on the momentum, and the biggest move has already happened in this zone, right, just a couple of days ago. So looking for scalp day trade longs to take out the highs is still acceptable because you are uptrending, okay? But you just need to realize that this is not the greatest zone to get into swing longs, right? You would rather look for swing shorts and build up a possible position accordingly, right, with your risk management. I want to enter 0.5% because we hit the VWAP. I understand that we're unlikely going to move higher. That is a risky, well, it's not, well, you are hitting resistance. You can take the decision to get into that trade. With 0.5%, you know, stop loss, you need to give a bit of room for a breather. If you're happy with the momentum that is happening throughout the last couple of hours, then you add to the position. But I have to say, when the move down happens, I think it could be quite ferocious eventually, right? We know how the market likes to dump. It likes to dump hard, right? So when this is the problem about positioning yourself, right, at the highs. This zone, I have to say, you know, with this movement down, you have a little bit of a battle here between a leading diagonal and some kind of corrective structure. I have to say this is very, very noisy price action, but as there's so much overlap, you consider this either a corrective structure, okay, either a corrective structure and some kind of a double zigzag. There's nothing impulsive in this zone, and multiple 1-2s is not possible because you're overlapping here the lower highs. The last lower highs, which should be your wave 2s, are getting broken here with this movement, right? We've got a little bit of support at the moment here in this zone. It is the previous day value area low. I have to say there is some significant support here when we do see the volume size of it. It is a risky long, but there is support, right? Just like we have the anchored VWAP here at 98K zone, all right? We do have some support here, which is volume, right? Just a resistance support flip territory with high volume, right? These highs have significant volume. So there's a bit of a resistance support flip in this territory, which is also with the previous day value area low, right? Trying to break down previous day value area low, but there's lots of support in this territory. So risky long, I would say, sweeping up the lows too. These are always kind of liquidity grabs, right? Kind of for the entry. I would say, you know, there's better ways of getting confirmation later on. But if you are a bottom catcher or a top catcher, you know, these are entries on SFPs where you can manage risk very, very well, right? They're very, very small, and you would give an attempt for a recovery. But this is the only way, you know, you either sniper the SFP low, liquidity grab, you get in or you don't get in, right? You don't get in on the bounce, because then obviously your risk to reward, you know, gets very, 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 very large. So at the end of the day, it's a liquidity game. Sweep up lows, sweep up highs. You know, this gives you a possible entry with very good risk management, but they are risky eventually, because you're catching, right, the falling knife liquidity grab. If you are going to participate in any catching falling knives or catching a major pump at resistance, you know, preferably it has to be a liquidity grab, right? Taking out a major pivot. That's the only best way that I consider. I'm catching the movement down, right, in a long position. Because it's the only way if you want to like catch the low before the next possible move to the upside. There are risks eventually. This doesn't mean that this is a three-wave structure we're going to bounce, right? You don't know if that is going to happen. You're just betting on that scenario, right? With good risk management, okay? First of all, before talking about betting or any of that nonsense, we need to say that, you know, this content is only for educational purposes only, guys, not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision. So, a little bit difficult for me in this zone, like, to consider a long position. But as we do sweep up these lows, you know, I have to say that SFP is a risky, valid entry. You got lots of support here. You're sweeping the lows. This still has a chance to be something corrective combined with this. So yeah, you just want to consider that as an aggressive entry. So regarding the swing short, right? This is the same for, anyway, if this does get the bounce and it does manage to get to these highs, that will be a high probability three-wave structure at the moment if the price does manage to recover and take out these lower highs at 97.1k. That would mean that eventually, you know, you're looking at another corrective structure, but that's the confirmation. However, when do you long, right? That's the overall question. When do you long? If I do not catch the low, you know, I'm entering late on the trade. Well, the best scenario eventually is you know, hope for a retracement you need to hope for a retracement here to get in the trade. There's just no other option. You either catch the low or you get into the pullback. If you ask me, there's no other way of trading. This is the exact strategies and trades that we consider. You either catch the ultimate liquidity grab on a swing failure pattern, or a big level of resistance, in this case yesterday at the anchored VWAP, the point of control of the entire range, all right, since 2024 November. Or you wait for a confirmation that this is a three-wave structure, which the price needs to take out the last lower high to confirm that this is a three-wave move. Which could still be a flat, don't get me wrong here. It could still be a flat, just because this could be a B wave, because you just barely touched the lows, and you could take out the highs, I have to say, and then roll over. All right, so it is important to understand the corrective move here in this territory if you take out this high, because then we're taking out the highs. Then you're like, okay, cool, three wave down, boom boom, you get the overlapping corrective structure, and you just need to take the decision, right, to enter that long. It's not going to give you the best risk to reward trade. I mean, yes, you can hold it, it might break through, head to 99, 100k, but you either catch this one or you catch this one right now with this SFB, to hope that it is going to be that movement, right? Only possible ways that I see of executing a trade. You catch the low, SFP, liquidity grab, you got support, you got high volume resistance flipping into support. You are hoping that this is going to be a three-wave structure, and there's no better entry than getting a swing failure pattern from a low where you have proof of support, right? So, if you don't catch this low, what you need to wait for is that this is a confirmed three-wave structure to the downside. How do you confirm that? Once the price action takes out the highs. Now, you want to be cautious based on flats, because you can sweep up the highs and then take a big massive dump down. A flat is possible if you're only taking out the A wave here, right? Sorry, my bad. A wave, B, and C. The B wave slightly got beneath the A wave, right? If it were to be a flat. In this case, you're moving down later on. If the price action would have gone way lower, okay, and then gets the movement up, the probabilities of a B decreases. So the thing about a B wave in a flat, the 1-to-1 to the 1-2-3-6, 1-3-8-2, sorry, is the common area, right? Let me just get this. Let me just get this right here and reverse. Hang on, sorry about the mess, guys. Bit messy chart here. If you would have come down here and hit the 1.618 extension, that is not common for a B wave. So if you then take out the local lower high, then of course you have a very, very good chance that it is a three-wave structure. So what you need to be cautious about taking out these lower highs of today is that it could be an ABC flat. So you got a motive wave down, ABC flat, and then you think that this is corrective. However, the price rolls over very aggressively. So it's in your best interest to wait to see if there is going to be overlapping structure here to the downside that looks very, very corrective, to then join the next move up, which is important to get that overlap, right? That correction. So these are the kind of only solid ways that I see eventually. Yes, you can get into a point of control or the previous day rally area low, or anchored VWAP, or the session VWAP if you're looking for a little tap and a scalp, right? But yeah, so you either attempt to catch the liquidity grab low, or you wait for confirmation Waiting for confirmation is never going to give you the best entry, of course. So, but it gives you a little bit of more confidence that the probabilities is in your side, right? So if we were throughout the next coming hours move up here in an impulse, we want to be aware of the ABC flat. C wave of a flat is an impulse. Okay, it is a 5-wave structure. And then the movement down is the most important. If you start getting this overlapping structure, that is your golden ticket. That is high probability that you're going to move and take out the highs. So not only because you take out the highs, it's like, okay, this is a 3-wave structure. You need to get the correction later on after taking out this high. That is very high probability long to take out the highs. But this is what happens right now when you are looking to squeeze, do we take out the highs again? Do we hit 98? Do we hit 99, right? These are still possible movements as we are still very uptrending since last week. But you're pushing it, right? You're really pushing it because we've had an awesome rally, right? We've had an awesome rally throughout the last week. And this is a significant rally, and we are starting to see some signs here that the momentum is slowing down. It is slowing down here in this zone. So you just want to be aware, right? I know people get bullish because of the price action, and you're going to see X where they are coming out, super bullish, right? Liquidity does not support a bear market. We got the M2 global liquidity, right, that is moving higher, and it's time for a massive recovery, and we expect all-time high in the next coming months, right? That's it. Up only from now, guys. Bear market's over. Funding rates flip negative on Binance. Spot-driven Bitcoin rallies are the strongest rallies. Seems like, there's more spot buys than actually leveraged longs, which makes a rally stronger. And this is it, guys. You obviously need to see the sentiment shift bullish before the reversal happens, right? People get bearish when you've been moving down, obviously very aggressively in the last throughout the last few months, right? Since we created the highs in October, right? This is bear market, guys. 2026 4-year cycle theory, and people become very bearish eventually. But the biggest move already happened. Here was, here we were arguing, do we get a 4th wave, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we get the 5th wave? 5th wave, we're not expecting it to absolutely nuke beneath this low. We are looking for a reversal, at some point. The biggest move already happened. So this is what is happening locally right now in this little pump. When we do zoom out, it's not much of a pump really, but when you go to the 15-minute, this is what we're discussing right now. You got a major rally throughout the last few days. The biggest move with high volume already happened, and what you need to be aware of is, if we claim the high or not again, we are not expecting huge momentum from this moment, right? Biggest amount of volume, biggest move already happened. Of course, we can fit in still a wave 4 and a wave 5, which I'm still very much saying that we could take out the highs. So one bullish case scenario would be this one right over here, which kind of needs to bounce in this zone because we are literally coming down to the lower part of the base channel. This is like really squeezing it for another wave 4. The momentum is really getting lost because what you have in an impulse when you use the base channel from your wave 1 and your wave 2, what you want to see is your wave 3 getting out from the top of the channel when you connect the start of wave 1 to the end of wave 2 and then to the top of wave 1. Wave 3 gets out of the channel, and wave 4 usually gets supported by the top range of the channel. So the fact that we are coming down here is like really pushing it for that 4th wave. If this is going to be another 4th wave and we get one more high, it's really pushing it. It literally needs to bottom out here and start pushing up in the next coming hours. Once you cross that channel, you can literally confirm that the momentum is getting lost already, right? The rollover is very, very likely. So yeah, it's to get one more high or not, it seriously needs to push from here, from this zone. Of course, there is the other scenario, which you do have the 5-wave move finished. There is a way of counting the 5-waver already. However, the main reason why we can count another possible 4 and 5 is because you have another 1 and 2 right there, and you can squeeze here a double 1 2, and you got 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, and then you should have another 4 and 5. But this is going like really in detail on the different scenarios. So could it be possible that this is finished already? The possibility is there without a doubt, right? Especially when you have the pump from yesterday overlapping this high over here. That is the moment that you realize you're coming into the last waves before getting the reversal, which is what we mentioned yesterday, right? With the moment that this movement comes down here, then you realize that you take out the high again and then roll over, or you form a lower high. You got the 5-wave structure already developed. So overall, on the lower time frame, it's really kind of, do we get that push up? Do we get one more high? Do we get this bullish case scenario, right? It's still very much possible, but we don't have much room to the downside here based on the probabilities when you hit the lower part of the channel from your wave 1 and 2. Right, you can see it, more clear on this movement, right? Wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, right? The upper half of the channel usually provides support on that wave 4. Wave 5, it gets out again, and then it's when you roll over. So yeah, the bulls need us. We need to see some bulls entering right now. I mean, we do have a little bit of bullish CVD divergence. We don't have bullish CVD divergence, I have to say, new fresh ones, unfortunately. Yeah, we took out these lows. We don't have any good solid lower lows already here. Yeah, the CVD is not giving us like solid information, unfortunately. We had ever so slightly bearish CVDs here with Bybit US dollar tether. So we did have higher highs and lower highs from these lower highs right over here. Lower highs on price action, slightly higher highs also here in the rest of exchanges. So these longs were creating slightly bearish CVDs. But yeah, not great information here regarding bullish CVD divergence. Would be nice to see the movement down, lots of selling pressure, lots of longs entering on Bybit right now, which is not what you want to see here at the lows. So bulls are trying to defend here the lows and not break down, but there's not not enough longs. Very retail-y long, 5 million. Not much. So yeah, for the bears, for the bulls, they need to find support here. As explained, I am expecting a correction on the higher time frame. You are expecting that movement down. All of this information that we have on the 15-minute, the 1 hour, right? Looking at this wave to the upside is really determining, right? If we do get one more push up, do we take out the highs, right? Do we look for a double top? When you looking to position yourself in a possible swing short, you need to understand, hey, we already, on the higher time frame hitting some resistance, 382 Fibonacci was barely missed by $50, but you could arguably discuss that, you know, it was kind of hit. Maybe on some exchanges it was hit, not on Coinbase. It missed it by $50. And, you know, there is big resistance at this zone, especially when you zoom out, right? And you consider the entire volume that we have had, right, since 2024, and you put in the volume profile, you know, and you take a look at this range, you're literally hitting the highest volume node, right? So, you know, this is an issue, of course. This is a big wall. So, you know, everybody that's kind of bullish and expecting a massive blast through, the probabilities on the lower time frame, I mean, regardless if we take out the highs again or not, is getting a pullback down. Will that pullback be corrective, or will it be impulsive? If it's impulsive, yeah, we're probably looking at 80, 89, 87K to come in the next, 1 to 2 weeks, right? So it's really now on the lower time frames. Do we get one more high? Do we not get one more high? Right? You need to give it a chance because the movement up is strong. There's no solid way of seeing a bearish impulse. The only solid way is that leading diagonal, but leading diagonals potential don't hold the highest probability. If you can count some kind of a corrective move to the downside, it always stands with the highest probability. Okay, this is exactly the same explanation basically that we had a few days ago, right? Leading diagonal from this movement to the downside, right? We did have a leading diagonal potential. Leading diagonal, lots of overlap, big mess. There was the possibility of a WXY or a 3-wave ABC movement that you could have fitted in here as well, but you realize that leading diagonals in a 5-wave move have the lowest probability. So even though the information that you get next, which I was thinking it's just very overlappy, doesn't look too great, at the end of the day you could have combined this as a WXY where you had a flat here in your Y. Very complex, I have to say. Very complex structure. WXY here finishing the flat in an impulse, right? But it may, you know, if you can count some correction, you need to give it the highest probability till you actually break down, because a leading diagonal, you know, never holds the highest probability if you can count a correction. So this is a little bit of the situation that we have here with this movement down. You know, yeah, okay. Chart never makes it very easy. There is a way of counting a leading diagonal here in this movement. There is a way of counting a WXY or even some kind of a 3-wavy structure here. You might get a flat in the middle, running flat, and it turns into more 3-waver. Doesn't really matter, but this gives you the reason to say all of this could still be corrective, because a leading diagonal never holds the highest probability. So when you get these movements to the downside to wick some lows or hit some support levels, you want to take the if you're just managing risk, you want to take the chance. Hey, we wick on those lows, stop loss at the lows. Yeah, this could still build up in the next coming days. Well, next in between today and tomorrow. I wouldn't say coming days. I would say, next 24 hours, right? Give or take, because it could be a little bit more noisy, and it could take out the lows, right? It could be a 1-2, 1-2, bang. But yeah, it's looking pretty promising. Let's go through the 5-minute, right? So the only way is either you snipe the low. You do have a chance here. You always need to consider the information that you have behind you, right? Is it worth sniping the low here at an SFP? Based on this information, I would say, yeah, leading diagonal, price needs to push through here. If you get a SFP, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot for your stop loss. It's worth a shot for, might just, get that momentum to the upside. If you did not catch the SFP, you take out this high. If the price gives you, the possibility of this corrective move happening, regardless, you don't know how it's going to be, right? This is just a little bit of Picasso drawing here, just so you get the idea on the lower time frames, 5-15 minute time frame. Just realize what you need to see. If you don't join here, you need to join here, right? Break of trend, or catch the 50% golden pocket from this high from this low to the high. It's the only way that you can look for the trades. Confirmation is never going to give you the best entry. The sniper trade is always going to give you the best entry, but they are riskier eventually, right? You are hoping for that reaction. Will that reaction succeed or not? Well, that's another thing, right? It's we don't have a crystal ball. Ideal scenario right now with the bounce, first good sign that the bulls would have is overlapping this pivot. If we consolidate in this region and take out the low again, it's not going to be looking it could still be I would say maybe a double bottom here locally would be looking interesting, because it could still be pre-wave down. But if this is a lead, this could be a wave A. It's really pushing it here for the bulls. This is literally the zone that needs to hold. This area needs to hold for the bulls if we want to take out the highs again, in my opinion. At least with this very local uptrend that we got. So if this is a leading diagonal, it could definitely still be an A wave. It doesn't have to be a wave 1 and a wave 2 and we nuke down in a wave 3. You need to understand that it could be a wave 1 2 1 2 and then it breaks down. But ultimately, good sign for the bulls, taking out 96,500. That would make this a 3-wave structure, which would be very good indeed to give a chance to the bulls if you take out this pivot low. So we're going to have to go a little bit level by level. If we range here without taking out this high, I would attempt another sniper long here at the lows. So if we do not take out this high, we're ranging here ever so slightly, and we still range a little bit, and then we move down to take out the lows again. I think this is another good SFP, just for the reason that after this bounce you have a 5-wave move, and yes, you have this diagonal here. It could be, I think there's a good look, there's a good double bottom again here. Valid trade, because this could be your wave A, wave B, and wave C here. It's really pushing it, but it would be a little bit of a scary wick down. But scary wicks are the ones that give you the opportunity, right? Of course, you could bounce already from this region, especially if you take out that 96.5k. That's going to give better probabilities for the bulls that we can recover here in the next coming hours. So it's still a valid long position. Ultimately this long, I would give it a chance to literally recover in the next coming hours, right? You would really want to see that push. If you take out this low, that's already going to start looking good for the bulls potentially. It's just all about executing the trade here. But ultimately what we would see, I would give the chance. I would give the chance eventually to take out this high if you executed this long. And you know, if the price comes down and takes out the low, I would be defensive on this trade. Well, it's still a minor stop loss. What can we say? If you don't take out this pivot, and then we take out this low, a double bottom is very, very possible, just because you have the potential of an ABC here. Very, very possible. Very, very possible, of course. Yeah. The fact that you've hit here, almost hit the highs. Hang on a minute. Let me just double check here 1 second, because even still, it could be a flat. Yeah, I mean that sniper long is definitely worth the shot. As this is very overlappy, I mean, you can fit many things here. I mean, you could see how can you you know, fit the waves in this zone. No motive wave, no multiple 1-2s. It's either a leading diagonal or some kind of a 3-wave structure. If this is some kind of a 3-wave structure where you have a running flat in the middle, right, where you have a 3-wave move down in an ABC, the possibility of this being a wave X, this being a wave W, and this being a flat, and then you rally up, is definitely there. So that long is kind of, just because of the risk management and the potential, it's kind of worth it. Very, very much worth it eventually, the risk to reward. If we don't take out that high, that low, and we come down to hit the lows again here, I'm going to attempt the double bottom here again. It would be a good double bottom, because still this could be a leading diagonal in a wave A. Still could be the correction in wave B, and still could be the wave C. You just need one more low eventually, gets that scary move, and then you just wick, and then you get an ultimate recovery, right? So yeah, we want to manage risk very, very well with the longs here, because we are in the danger territory of, you know, getting a nuke move to the downside, right? It is dangerous territory. Most of the longs should have been taken from lower and compounded in, right, throughout the last few days. Swing shorts are looking way more attractive, but any longs should have been taken, you know, basically throughout last week, compounding into the long, taking as much profits as possible. And rejoining longs right now, you need to, it's all about protecting the capital as well, right? So you really need to squeeze in those good executions. You need to really be a very, very good executor here to get into the new long positions, because you're literally, you know, this is coming to its possible end stages of the major rally that we got right in the last couple of days. You know, you're like really playing with fire here to rejoin the longs. So it's just about managing risk, right, basically here. So that's what we do have a little bit locally. Take out this low at 96.5. It's going to be looking pretty okay. It's going to be looking better for the chance for the bulls. Obviously, to catch this, it's a sniper trade at the SFP low. There's just no other way. There's no other way, guys. And yeah, and for a new long position, yeah, to kind of confirm the long, you would have to take out these highs, and then get the correction here. And then you realize that, yeah, you're literally looking for this inverted head and shoulder kind of thing, and you know, looking for the move up again. But on the higher time frame, we are expecting a rollover. On the higher time frame, we're hitting major resistance. We got the big move happening in the last 2 days. We overlapping already with yesterday's correction. Big point of control right there. We are expecting a rollover, you know, on the higher time frame. Right now, on the 15-minute, 5 minutes, discussing, you know, do we get the chance of the bulls to squeeze up another high or not? And that's what we kind of figure out, right, on the 15-minute time frame, which is you know, you need to, you know, it does require a lot of brain power, but they still have a chance. The bulls locally still have a chance to take out the high. 98k maybe stretches to 9900k, then that's going to be looking pretty interesting to start, you know, looking for a swing short in that territory. So yeah, higher time frame, we're looking at the last little pushes to the upside. We are looking for that high probability move down on the higher time frame, and on the lower time frame, we're discussing, right, if we can get that little push here to the upside, do we manage to continue the momentum to just get one more high? Because it is valid technically that we can form one more high, which is really losing the momentum here. Yeah, they seriously need to push right now if they want to convert this into a three-wave structure. They need to start pushing in the next coming hours. Double bottom, liquidity grab. You know, we are literally at danger territory at the moment when we consider longs. You know, this is no zone without a doubt to consider long, right? It seriously isn't, because there will be that moment where it's just going to move down, right? It's just going to move down very aggressively. And, you know, it's just all about managing your risk here. Higher time frames is looking attractive for the rollover, right? So yeah, let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, see what's going on. My brother Andy, what's going on here? No fighting. Be nice, guys. Be nice. Do you win all your trades? No. A genuine question. No, I actually got stopped out from a short position that was attempted a couple of days ago. Okay. Well, not stopped out. I exited the position. What kind of question is that? Do you win all your trades? Not all of them. I would say most of them, but not all of them. And I like to talk about my losing trades because I don't do it so often, because there's not that many losing trades. But when I do, I just need to talk about it, which was this movement up here. I did enter and just realized that we were breaking out with high volume, realized the bullish case scenario, the building of momentum with high volume. Get out of the short, right? Get out of the short before it goes against you big time. So what's your usual leverage? I'm usually in between 20 and 30x. That's the kind of sweet spot. Just because I calculate the percent. Leverage doesn't matter, man. These questions are... Leverage doesn't matter. I'm usually in between 20 and 25x. Because that's how I can calculate my percentage risk on the trades much better, right? If you're going to flip-flop with your leverage, you're just going to make it... You're not going to follow your percentage risk properly, right? You're just going to be adding to the position, right? I'll add, you know, whatever, 5%, boom, boom. How much is this, right? And, oh, I'm using 50x today. Well, I need to be careful with what I risk, right? I just keep it at 20x. And I know with what I have in my trading capital, right, how much I'm using for that 20x trade. So it doesn't matter, 100x. You can use you know, you can use a 10x and you're risking 100% of your account. You can use 100x and risk 0.5% of your account, right? Where your stop loss is, right? Leverage is just it's just a tool. It doesn't matter. You can use as much leverage as you want. It's all about how much you're risking from your account. That's what matters. Using 100x with all your account, then that's, you know, it's a full recipe to blow it, right? 10x is my stock standard. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It seriously doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can use 20, 30, 50, just risk 1 to 3% of your capital on each trade when you have your stop loss, right? Leverage is a bunch of BS. It's nothing. It's how much you risk of your account. That's what matters. Leverage is not important. That is damn right. What is important? To have a fixed position size of 10% of your capital, and then only risk on percentage of your capital on your stop loss. Chichan, there you go. Very good answer. I can see here. I can see you there with that. Awesome. Andy, please permaban this kid. I know. Who is he? I think we had him yesterday. Where is he? There's Knobhead. Get out of here, you knobhead. Where is he? Shall we ban him? We might leave him here so we can he can just have, we'll leave him here. Is he back here again? Fucking knobhead. Anyway, yeah, let's continue through the comment section. Not true. Fees are based on position size and not leverage. Yeah, exactly. Also the same thing. You can use 100x with $1, and you can use 1x, right, with $100, and the fees are going to be the same or very, very similar. I guess that's some bots. Yeah, exactly. James, man, come on. Be nice. Be nice to people. Be nice to people. We're discussing the scenarios. Yeah, scared is yeah. Sorry guys for the language, but I just we have this guy from yesterday. He's creating some new account. Fucking knobhead. You can piss off. What's all the hate about? And why do I deserve this hate? Have I been bad? Any moderators in the chat? We don't want Andy's haters distracting him. Andy, exactly. Paz Maria Vallejo. Very true. I'm so sorry. I just like going through. Let him make a fool of himself. I just like going through the comment section, and I just saw somebody, can you ban this guy? And we just talked about it. That's it. We're forgetting about it, guys. Okay. Comment section time. Comment section time. Where Bitcoin is at the moment. I can only say, guys, you know, as explained, it is looking interesting on the higher time frame, okay, for a larger pullback, of course. Okay, so, you know, how are you going to manage this trade is, you know, it is complex. Of course, we want to catch the high. For some people, the anchored VWAP would be more than enough to just say, screw the waves on the lower time frame, screw if we are going to hit the highs one more time. The price is ready to roll over and get a significant pullback because we are at resistance, right? Some people that would be enough. When we consider Elliott wave theory as well, we consider the possibility of taking out the highs one more time, but obviously realizing that, you know, it is looking at the end stages of the push at the moment, and a pullback down on the higher time frame has high probability to happen, especially when we consider the resistance, right? We're literally hitting that point of control since November of 2024. We're hitting the anchored VWAP from all-time high, and it would have been nice to hit the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high as well, which we just barely missed. Maybe on some future exchanges we did hit it, because we only just missed it by about $40-50 on Coinbase. So Yeah, we just we're hitting that resistance, and we just need to understand that we're likely going to get that pullback. So it is okay for some people just saying, right, we're hitting the anchored VWAP, we're hitting the point of control. The problem is a little bit of your management here for the stop, right? This does have the potential to move down. However, will the move down be impulsive, or will it be corrective? If it is impulsive throughout the next coming weeks, it really has the potential to sweep up 89, 87k lows, right? And even who knows, right? Who knows how bearish it can be. We need to anticipate the potential, right? And obviously be positioned. The question is your stop loss here. It's all about positioning yourself and managing risk. Sometimes I do like to position myself with 0.5 to 1%. Just to attempt to catch the Pico top. Obviously, I would have a bigger range. It would be a smaller position. And if the price does get weakness and a solid impulse and a very overlapping bounce, then is where I will increase the position to 2-3%, and obviously lowering stop at the last lower high, at the highs basically, just to determine if this is going to be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or it's going to be a 3-wave structure, right? Doesn't matter, but ultimately you would be targeting the higher lows, the liquidity that you have down here. So, yeah, this is the thing right now. Are you happy to have a stop at 102 if you're entering here? If you entered at the 97k zone, right? You realize that the price could roll over. There are bearish scenarios as well. We are hitting a lot of resistance at this 98k area. A lot of resistance, anchored VWAP, point of control, almost 382 Fibonacci. When we combine the Elliott wave theory structures, we do have the WXY that could finish in a double zigzag in this territory. So, yeah, I mean, we are looking for that higher time frame rollover. And the bulls really want to defend this zone where we are at the moment, okay? The most bullish case scenario, so this is the most bearish case scenario, which eventually we would be expecting the price to move down to very likely $80,000. It does have the potential of a larger double zigzag to the downside here. Bear market continues, where you have a 3-wave down here, 3-wave up, and then you have the 3-wave down eventually that does reach 70k, right? Maybe even 60k in the next coming months. However, there is the ultimate bullish case on the higher time frame, which is that leading diagonal to the upside, where you have, this scenario right over here. Wave 1, wave 2, another wave 1 and 2, and another wave 1 and 2, and you just end up breaking out here in the next coming weeks after that movement down, which needs to be confirmed a correction, right? If we move down here in a corrective matter, then I would really have to consider this scenario, right, where we're just gonna rally in the next coming weeks. But yeah, ultimately on the higher time frame, we are coming to a crucial zone of resistance. Anchored VWAP. We do have the possibility, of course, of rolling over, taking out the highs one more time or not in the next coming days. So yeah, let's see on the lower time frame here. We did not manage to hit that. Pivot. Local double bottom here is going to be interesting. Possible local double bottom, we're going to have to see here. But yeah, it's really at this moment, it is really playing with a little bit of fire regarding longs. Most of the longs, right, should have been taken throughout the last few days. And this is literally the exit zone of your longs Leave some open, of course, just in case, but taking most of the profits. And yeah, most of the longs, I mean, should have been taken somewhere in this zone. My longs were that we talked about mainly were here. The higher lows were not mentioned to be taken as longs. But yeah, longing it all the way up here, we do understand that it's not the best. You really need to start thinking of exiting when you get this overlap after the big move. You know, this is coming to its end stages, and it's either one more high or not. You're looking for the correction to the downside on the higher time frame, right? Today, as we had this information, it did look good. It did look very good till we got this sharp move down. I literally have no solid entry in this zone for the long. No solid long position here. Too much noise. Let's see if we do get that double bottom here. Let's see if we do get that double bottom. So wick the lows. Yeah, it would be nice to see if we wick the lows down here. Even though value area low has been lost, that previous day value area low has kind of been lost. We did get a fake out here from previous day value area low. Right now we did kind of move down a bit aggressively. Yeah, local double bottom is going to be considered here. We're not quite hitting the bottom yet. Only and only because you have a lower high here, the big move, and a lower high right there without overlapping. So you do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It creates that wick and then it recovers later on. Let's see if we do test that low. I would say we are going to likely try and test the low here. If you break down, you break down, right? If you do break down from that low, you break down. Let's see. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Let's see if we do test that low. I'm going to be looking here to see if we do. Would be happy to attempt that scalp. I'm going to put an alert here and go through the comment section. See if we wick that low. Going scalp long already. I like to see the wick being taken. I like to see the wick being taken. That's where I like to put, because I like to put my stop loss beneath the wick. Yeah, I mean, I want to see that movement down and then entry, stop loss, right? Entry is on the recovery, not on the movement down. So when we move down, if we don't get that recovery, there's no execution long. The long that I maintained still, as I was adding to the position from last week, was a sniper trade from down here, right? This wick. So the entry was here, stop loss was here. And man, I have to say, I did take significant profits on this bounce, but still managed to compound a little bit into that long position and try and maximize the momentum to the upside. But yeah, this compounding trade was the one that was executed here at 89,500, right? Please continue with the higher time frame scenarios. Yeah, there's not. Bluffin tapped it. Bluffin tapped the lows. Okay, well, yeah. Bluffin tapped the lows. Oh, yeah, I can see this. Bybit US dollar tether potentially also tapped the lows. Yeah, I can see a couple of exchanges has tapped the lows. Not all of them, not Coinbase. We just barely missed it here. I don't like it when we miss the lows on Coinbase. But yeah, some futures platforms have been testing that low already. Getting a little reaction of a couple of $100 here at the moment. Bulls seriously need to defend this zone. Let's take a look at Fibonacci. 1 second from this low to the high. Yeah, when we consider this bullish case scenario, you know, hitting the lower part of the channel, it really gives you that exhaustion scenario here. Coming all the way down here. The momentum, you know, preferably you would have formed a low here, take out the highs. The fact that you're coming all the way down here to the lower part of the channel is just signals that the momentum is really getting lost. So the bulls really need to hold here, this area. Interesting fact here is that we're still very much in the minimum target zone of your wave 4, because this is considering this wave 1, 2, 3. Sorry, my bad. 1, 2, 3. All of this is your third wave. This is your higher time frame wave 4, and then wave 5. This is what still has potential, but it's losing probabilities at the moment. It's really at the last zone. If it were to wick down the lows, we do have the 382 Fibonacci, which is sitting slightly below the recent lows. But yeah, this is it is the bouncing zone, right? For the bulls, it is literally where the price needs to bounce. Something nice about this level is that we do have insane amount of volume from Tuesday. Resistance support flip, right? When you go to the basics, volume strategy, basically you have a movement up with high volume, and then you correct, you break out with high volume, and you're literally coming back down to back test the resistance support flip that has a lot of volume, and it usually provides good support for that possible bounce. So it is support. It is getting a bit wicky. Local double bottoms can be attempts. So we're going to have to see, legends. We're going to have to see. 102 coming, Andy, Raki. Maybe so. Maybe so. We're going to have to see. We took it on Bybit and Binance. How come you've switched to Coinbase? Just because of the volume. Volume is a little bit more reliable on Coinbase. Volume is a little bit more reliable. Bybit, I still like the volume profile on Bybit a lot. Session volume profile. But yeah, based on the volume, I kind of prefer Coinbase. Hello, my mentor. When I'm profitable and afford to move in Dubai, I give a tight hug. If you allow, for sure. Absolutely, Rach. Why not? Why not? Let's go, legends. DJ Dale, much love to you. Simon Jones, much love. We're taking out the low. This is the problem right now when you take out the low on an exchange and you don't take it on another exchange. It's like, let's take it all on all exchanges. The Bybit is, you know, Bybit has been an exchange that I've really preferred swing failure patterns, because you do a lot of the times take out a low or a high on Bybit, and sometimes on other exchanges you don't take it, and it's been very, very reliable for swing failure patterns. Still not touching it here on Coinbase. Would be nice to get a little little volatile move down, just a little bit of a kind of a liquidity grab. I kind of like the wicks, like they boom, and then move up, right? When it chops around so much and it's just rolling over, it's not good. You want to see the boom, right? Get a little bang here. Let's see if we do get it. And if it breaks and maintains beneath this low, then ciao chin. Let it go, right? But if this is a kind of wicky, you want a wicky move here. All right, let's see if we do get that reactionary move. Oh, a little bit of too many longs entering here on Bybit, but we're going to give it a chance. Let's see if we do. I want to see a wick. It needs to wick. It needs to. Whoop. This slow price action is a little bit disturbing, right? The fast moves are the best. Move down into the level and then get the reaction. Don't, dance around here too long in this zone. It's probably just going to roll over. Let's see if this pushes down and gets the bounce. If it doesn't, we're looking for the breakdown. Yeah, currently trading beneath the low. I have to say, this is dangerous territory. It is dangerous territory. Because we're really fighting the possible larger move, corrective move down, right? It's like really giving the uptrend, the bulls, another chance to maintain this bullish structure. Would be nice to see the bulls stepping in right now. There we go. Let's see if they do want to. Let's see if they do want to step in. They need to step in now. They need to step in now. Come on, go, 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 go. Recovery. They need to step in now. Let's go. Down we go. Here we go. Let's see. Well, que máquina. Well, let's see if we do get the bounce. Vamos a ver si pega el bote. Esto no lo sabemos nunca. Vamos a ver si pega el bote aquí o no lo pega. Want to see that. Oof. Still okay. Maybe a little bit of noise here. Yeah, I usually want to see a little bit of a good bounce once you get that wick. But yeah, on the higher time frame, we're really playing on with fire here. We're really playing on with fire. Well, we're not going to stay at the 1 minute. Let's zoom out and talk about the higher time frame a little bit. Let's see. I don't like the fact that some longs entering here on Bybit. That's never good news. We can't trust these Bybit bros. We've got a few million long positions entering here at the lows. It's never good. Never good. Higher highs on CBD, lower highs on price action. Yeah, not the greatest. Not the greatest. Big volume needs to kick in right now. If not, too much dancing around here is not going to be great. Too much dancing around here is not going to be that great, even though it is acceptable, of course, based on this being a lower high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get the bounce. Muy posible. Anyway, let's go through higher time frame. Very, very slow market. Very, very slow market. We just got this dump at the beginning of the stream to test the lows. Now retesting the lows. Will this be the three-wave structure, or will it not? Will it be the three-waver? And we get a pretty nice bounce here. Yeah, it seems like bulls are not participating here. Not great. It needs to get a push up now. Come on, get a little bit of momentum to the upside. Anyway, we're not here. We're not just going to stare at the 1 minute, are we? Well, let's talk about higher time frame scenarios. Somebody said, continue with the higher time frame scenarios. Higher time frame scenarios is that we are likely looking for a rollover, okay? Now, obviously, it's like fighting the possible one more last push to the upside, but we are losing momentum. That is for sure. When we consider the base channel being hit already, we never like this kind of price action. But we're going to give it a chance. We're going to give it a chance. Literally the highest volume candle right now is what's trying to support us here, right? You got the high volume candle from yesterday. From Tuesday. And the high volume breakout of the highs. The 1 hourly candle here with high volume is really what's trying to hold, right? As support. Going through the lower time frame, we do have the ABC possibility. A bit of an internal 5-waver here. But it doesn't want to bounce, guys. What can I say? Should really get some kind of a nice bounce here, at least, to be a little bit confident. Take out these lower highs. That would be ideal. But if you want to be a bottom catcher, there's just no other way. There's just no other way. You catch the double bottom or you don't. And then you get the recovery. And then you're like, oh, I missed the long. Well, that's a sign of strength. Then you would have to join in on this correction from here. Then you have to join somewhere in this territory, right, to take out the highs. Anyway, let's give it a chance. Man, I'm tired. Anyway, let's go through the comment section, see what the people are saying. Let's go. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Guys, we had a great promo. Lots of people joining in the community. We got myself, Devil. We've been working for this in the last few months. Got news, analysis, probability scenarios. You got the community down below, okay? If you want to join, just DM me, join. And I'll send you the information, of course, to join the trading community. If you are interested in trading, bluffing, great platform. You got VIP1 on the sign up, guys, which lowers your fees as well. That's a new, fresh sign up, of course, on new people, okay? And you get great rewards as well as you trade and go on bluffing, guys. Bluffing is an awesome platform. Let's see if we do get that push to the upside on Bitcoin from these lows. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on, Bitty. You can do it. Double bottom SFB. Vamos. Arriba. Arriba. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Bitcoin. You can do it. Come on. Dale, dale, Eduardo. Vamos. 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 Pump. 102K for sure, Andy. Raki, let's see, maybe. Oh, come on, Bitcoin. Show the legends that we can bounce. It's happening. One of those levels that you don't usually like to say, yeah, you know, do we long, do we don't long? There you have it, guys. If it had to bounce, it had to bounce now. But we're not out of the woods. Not out of the woods. How many longs entering here? Hang on a minute. Let's take a look at aggr.trade. I deleted this. Been a bit of chicky liquidity. Guys, I don't know what's happening, but I'm exhausted for some reason. I feel like I'm going to collapse. It's really popping. Yeah, it is getting a little bounce. You know, as explained, you know, if it had to bounce, a local double bottom here was relatively interesting because, you know, if this, I mean, this could either be an ABC, you move up to the highs, or it's a 1-2-1-2. You know, well, at the moment it's not looking great for the double 1-2. I mean, unless you reject from here, form a high and reject again, then it's not going to be looking great. But based on what we explained of, if this is a, you know, if this is a leading diagonal to the downside, where you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this movement to the upside is your correction in a wave running flat B, right? This is a lower high, so this is a 3-wave correction. You know, this is either your wave 2 or your wave B. When you get the movement here to the downside, you formed a lower high. You have the possibility of this being a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. The biggest move happened. Wave 4 and 5. Your wave 5 is, you know, always a pretty nice attempt on a double bottom. So yeah, I mean, double bottom for the moment, it's not looking too bad. It's a kind of a confirmation. You take out these highs, it's going to be looking pretty damn good to take out 98K. Just need to manage risk here and understand that, you know, we are playing with fire for the bigger reversal, right? This zone is not a zone to get too bullish on the pullbacks. You don't need to be too bullish. 1%, 0.5% on a trade. I realize the danger right now. The big move happened, right? You can finish a 5-wave move here as well. Do we get one more 4 and 5 is the ultimate question. You're hitting the base channel already, the lower part of the channel, when you fix your wave 1 and 2 here. It's not, you know, bulls, like as mentioned, they need a step in from here. They need a step in to create one more high. It does look like that they're attempting for the step in. And then obviously this wave 5, well, we just don't know exactly where it's going to finish. If it does take out the highs, you usually don't skyrocket in the 5th wave extension. It could still be a 5th wave extension. It could not be a 5th wave. Maybe 5th wave is in. You know, it's all about executing the trades. You know, will this trade end up being a massive trade? Well, maybe not. Maybe it gets stopped out at break even now in the next coming minutes. right? So it's just we don't know. So when we consider this, your wave A, your wave B, your wave C, I mean, this should be the low. Should be the low if you're going to take out the high. It should be the low. Bearish case scenario is that you have a 1, 2, and this is another wave 1 and 2. And, you know, we end up breaking down later on today. So you never know if it's going to be, I would say zooming out. This is where we stand at the moment, where you know we're speculating for another high, and we'll take out the highs and we'll see how we break their highs, or we're speculating on, you know, maybe this is the local high before a bigger pullback. So when we consider taking the trading decisions, in this case, you either speculate that it's an ABC, it's the low, you take out the high, or you speculate, or in the bearish case, it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, and yeah, price is just, you know, literally going to break down, right? In a wave 3 later on. So where do your trades, you know, where's your highest probability good risk management trade for an entry? It's literally trying to get into the sniper low of your wave 5, as explained at the beginning of the stream here, right? If you do not take out that last low, right, which is this pivot right over here, if you do not take out that low on this bounce that we had recently in the last hour, and you take out the lows, you're likely forming a 5th wave. You got a lot of support here. You got the high volume resistance support flip. I mean, if you're looking for a good execution trade with good risk management, you know, look no further. You know, you ain't gonna find nothing better than this with this potential. I mean, you're already making a 3-to-1 risk reward, as in catching the low. Of course, you can catch it later on, a possible better trade. We just don't know if this is going to be an ABC, guys. You know, this is the thing. Is it an ABC? It has the potential for being it. It has the potential of being 1, 2, 1, 2. Goodbye, right? Wave 3. So when we talk about a high probability setup to take out the highs, in this case, just because this bounce is, yeah, I wouldn't know what to say that what this bounce is, but you would want to see a 5-wave move to the upside, taking out this high, preferably not taking out this high already, and then the corrective move, and then you need to jump in either in the break of trend of here, because you realize that this is impulsive and this is corrective. This moment looks bullish. If you have a 3-wave down here, this break of trend, I would say it's acceptable, if that were to be the case, right? Because you're realizing that you are invalidating the bearish impulse down. It looks corrective. Then this break of trend is acceptable. The risk reward is not going to be the greatest, though. I mean, depending on where that low is, of course. Yeah, but anyway. So we got back. Let's take a look at today's levels, because it looks like we squeezed back in today's previous day value area. That's nice to see that we got back inside previous day value zone. Let's see if we form a higher low here. Ideally we would form a higher low, right? You don't want to come back down to your entry, right? If you got that entry sniper trade, if you're coming back down to that zone, then you know, I wouldn't attempt another double bottom here. If it were to come back down here like pump and dump, then I have no long trade, unfortunately, here. This one was okay, speculating on the fifth wave, but if it decides to come straight back down from here, I have literally no interest anymore in longing beneath these lows. Let me just double check here the anchored VWAP from the lows. I'll be very, very far away. So yeah, it's important that we form a higher low here at previous day value area low in this zone. If it comes down to the entry, then you know, I would say that has to be a stop at break even. You could not turn, if anybody got into that local double bottom, you could not turn that trade into a losing trade. Naked point of control here that I do not have on the chart. We can fit that one in the naked point of control folder. I have these weekly naked point of controls just because they're a weekly naked point of control, even though I like to leave them on the chart for a few days because of back test reasons. And man, this has been back testing nicely, that weekly naked point of control. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty solid support. Old weekly naked point of control, that's where we got resistance on Wednesday or Tuesday, sorry. So we got, yeah, we're literally trying to resistance support flip here. We're just literally trying to flip this high into support. Sweep the lows here again. It's your kind of your best entry. 3-wave structure. You're analyzing the lower time frame. 5-wave down. Your ABC potential. And this is like the best entry that you can get into to manage risk, to potentially take out the highs. We're giving it an attempt. I've added significantly to that position that I had on bluffing here to give it a chance. Entry light went straight into this low, slightly below. So we're gonna give the bulls a chance here. For short positions, I have to say, just need a swing shorts. You know, at this current moment, swing shorts are really looking interesting. You know, for me, I want to try and get in at highest level possible. And if you're trying to catch a short, I mean, yesterday the anchored VWAP touch. I mean, there is a lot of traders that would just use this for the reason to get into the trade. You know, it tapped the anchored VWAP. Hang on a minute. I don't know why I'm on Bybit here. For some people, it's already a good reason to get in on the anchored VWAP from all-time high. You know, somebody pointed this out, and you're like, yeah, you know, if you want to enter with, I have a situation with stop loss. You know, I miss a lot of trades, guys, because I'm very, very selective with the trades. Very, very selective. But I like everybody, right? We can't get into every single move. And if you try and catch every single move, you're likely going to get punched out, right? and lose money. But some people might say anchored VWAP is more than enough for a reason to already start jumping into a short. You know, you might enter 0.5% risk here, stop loss at 102, 103, give it a bit of room to see how we break out. If we break out with volume, we don't lose momentum, then you can cut the loss. But you know, I know a lot of people are very much interested in the short. I'm interested in the short. You know, do you enter with a very, very small amount? We don't have a proper impulsive move down, unfortunately, that gives us that confidence on the corrective bounces. The movement down here, diagonal, you know, it's just it is the one that has the potential that, you know, from all of the movements down that we've had in, you know, in the last few days in this uptrend, it's the only one that can be counted as a motive wave. You can fit a contracting diagonal here. So the possibility for the bears of rolling over from here already, you know, is there. It is there, even though it's not the greatest. It is there, and when you consider obviously the rally that we've had, the potential of already having a wave 5, the potential of being a leading diagonal. I mean, the market likes to make it tricky as well, right? Because if we would have had a solid, you know, 5 wave down and a overlappy 3 wave structure here, then it's like, hey, bingo, you know, that's it. You know, we're looking for the movement down. This movement, a bit corrective, a bit choppy. When we combine everything, I know somebody is saying we're going to hit 102k. Mark my words. Best possibility for the bears is that this is the low. We bounce from here. And shorts, you know, I'm not that it's not looking that attractive for me to enter the short, I have to say. But this is like, you know, on the higher time frame, we realize, do we take the highs one more time or not? You know, if you manage risk, you can already be positioned, right, in that trade. Because eventually on the rejection, you do have the potential of coming down to 80k. But now, you know, we take out the highs again or not, you know, you need to manage that situation against you. We don't have a proper sign of weakness on the chart. You know, it's a very, very overlappy kind of structure. You can fit a leading diagonal. However, leading diagonals don't have the highest probability. So for all of this, you can combine a kind of a flat structure, because you can fit in here flat. I'm not going to go in detail into this noise over here. It's just really overlappy. So it's not multiple 1-2s. It's not an impulse. It's either a 3-wave structure where you have a flat in the middle if it's going to be an ABC, or it's a WXY, or it's a not a WXY right now here, because preferably it would have been the low. It's either an ABC or it's a leading diagonal. If it's an ABC, then you have the correction here in your wave X, wave W, and you got a expanding flat here in your wave Y. That's possible. Low is in, we take out the highs. Or on the other side, you just have just an ABC, but your ABC would have to be the leading diagonal here. So you got your leading diagonal 5-wave move in your wave A, 3-wave structure in your wave B, 5-wave move down in your wave C. So this, you know, despite being either a WXY or an ABC, it doesn't really matter. You know, it has the potential eventually of recovering here. to hit the highs. Bearish case, 1 2 1 2, we roll over. Vamos a ver. Maybe, you know, we're probably hitting VWAP. I'm not sure where VWAP is at the moment. We're kind of sitting at the VWAP, trying to break the session VWAP at the moment, which is providing a little bit of that local resistance. Are you feeling bearish or are you feeling bullish? Let me know in the comment section. Let's go. Let's go. Vámonos. Who's long from the lows of this move? I would treat it, I mean, I'm treating it more as a day trade to hit the highs. I know some people would treat this movement as a scalp, hit the VWAP, I'm taking profit, right? I mean, it has been $1,000 of a move. It's a pretty nice day trade. VWAP is providing the resistance. It all depends on how much you risk, right, on that long. If you got into this double bottom, do you want to already secure, right, 60-70% of that trade on the movement, or do you want to hold most of it, right, and give the bulls a chance here? Depends on how you treat it. As a scalp, you don't trust it, it's looking bearish, or if you're feeling confident, right, and you're treating it more as a day trade, swing trade, maybe to take out the highs again. You know, it really depends on how much you risked, if you're happy with the profits. You know, I have to say, it does have the potential of hitting the highs. This does have the potential of being an ABC or a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, flat WXY, and price recovers here in the next coming hours. So just a bit of information, you know, we need to understand that it could also be a 1 2 and a 1 a 2, right? And then price forms a lower high and it rolls over in the next coming hours. Well, because the price has been so bullish, let's give the bulls a chance here to take out the highs again. Bearish, longed. I hope you longed the exact double bottom. I caught the long. Milo trading, absolute legend. Caught the long. We did bounce $1,000 on average. Feeling doggish, bearish. Yeah. Not RLI, but isn't the double 1 2 kind of off in time? Yeah, well, yeah, double 1 2, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great, I have to say. This would have to range a little bit more. Off in time, you mean this? This is very quick move up. So this would have to, you know, form a little bit of a more of a sideways corrective structure. So it is a little bit more symmetrical in time. So you kind of form either an internal WXY on the lower time frames here, but it's not off. This is smaller. It is smaller from this wave. So you just need to realize that it is possible that, you know, I always consider the bullish case and the bearish case. If I enter a long position here, I'm happy with my risk. I'm happy by, you know, being defensive with the trade. Don't want to turn this into a losing trade now. This bounce, if this bounce would have taken out the highs, then it would have been looking much better for the bulls, that's for sure. If you would have taken out these lower highs. But still looking okay. Still looking okay. Do we bounce and take out 98k, guys, from here? Is this the move? Does it succeed? You know, I like, you know, I'm gonna say it has the potential. And if you wanted a solid entry, there's no more solid entry than this. Because, you know, if you're longing right now, then, you know, you are pushing the risk reward right? It's not looking that great to long up here, considering the bearish case scenario. Bearish, says Sado. Feeling doggish. Much love, Eddie, to you. Andy the GOAT. Much love to you, brother. Andy Legend. Milo. One more push. SFB the highs and back down. That would be nice, because I would be already kind of interested in starting to short. You know, I would even liquidity over 98k. There is actually some liquidity. There is some shorts, guys. People like to short, obviously, the Pico top. That we've actually created some short liquidity above 98k, so that's okay. That gives a reason to take out the highs again, but I would already be very interested in maybe getting into a small short position already with stop loss at 104k maybe. Once we start getting above, you know, not even waiting for the double top here, taking out the highs here, just really think that this is kind of get into a small position at 98, 98.5 or 99, depending on the move up. What we need to identify, what you need to identify is the fifth wave. That's what you need to identify to get into the short double top. Ideally, right? Sometimes it's going to be easier, sometimes it's going to be more difficult. But guess what? Take a look at this price action that we had here. 3 wave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess what? 5th wave, double top, right? From this correction that we had on Wednesday. I mean, look at this. It's a 5-wave move to the upside. You could have actually double topped here just below 98k, right? Awesome entry on that movement, that's for sure. I was asleep here. But man, how awesome would have been getting into this double top right there. It was late for me. This was like already 1 a.m. And it was a correction, and it was a 5-wave move to the upside. Look at this. So ideally here, you know, you want to try and spot that 5-waver if it does happen, right? If we do take out the highs, I mean, this could have the potential of being the highs, but let's see. Hopefully this happens tomorrow morning, in between tonight and tomorrow morning, and there's going to be time to detect that 4th wave, 5th wave here. Regardless if it's 99 or 100k, it doesn't matter where it is. Well, that's going to be the golden short. Will we get that golden short? Golden short entry late last night or early this morning. I mean, come on, guys. We talk about this all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try and detect the 4th and 5th wave after the 3rd wave. You know, 5th wave double top is the name of the game. With the anchored VWAP, with everything. So same thing for this long, really, of today. Same thing for this long. Move down, move up. Lower high right there. Okay, that could be your 1, 2. Big move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves. Double bottom. This could be an ABC. This could take out the highs. Where do you want to enter? You want to enter here. You're looking maybe to take out the highs. It does have the potential. Short, where you want to short. Okay, you got a corrective move. You want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wave. Entry. Double top. Stop loss at the high. Doesn't matter. You're positioned. You're good. You're no. Obviously, the 5th waves at levels of resistance and support. They are the best ones to get in, especially if you're gonna look to reverse right on the higher time frame. It's just, you know, for people that want to manage risk and get into a good entry. Right? Just some little tips and tricks, legends. Liquidity over 98k. Let's see. I kind of pushed it on this. I you know, I got excited with that double bottom, and I went max long from the rest of the position that I had open, and squeezed here to see if I can, you know, I'm no longer interested in swing longs here. I'm just trying to maximize the possible last little push. And my average entry, I'm just compounding here into this SFP to see if we do get that push to the upside and take out the highs. I mean, if we take out the highs, that would be pretty nice. Just to give it the last squeeze of the lemon. Last squeeze of the lemon of these longs, or do we roll over already? And yeah, for the short, as explained, we don't, you know, it's not extremely clear for the short, unless you would have shorted here yesterday. I mean, whoever shorted that fifth wave double top then is the top man. Is the top man, but that wasn't me. That wasn't my case. So if we were to roll over, you know, I would probably miss. Yeah, I would miss the short basically from the Pico top. Who's short? Who's long? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Let me just have a drink of water. Go around the table. Smash up that like button. Let's see how many likes. Let me know if you are long from that double bottom SFP that we were explaining throughout the stream. There was one attempt. We got the bounce. A local double bottom here would have been a acceptable entry. Will it succeed or not? Let's go. Has the potential of an ABC. Has the potential of a WXY in flat. The bulls need to form a low here if they want to take out the high. We are really struggling at the moment with the momentum. If this is going to form another high, it needs to happen from here. You come back down to the lows and the momentum is really going to be shifting here. And it is becoming dangerous for any long positions, right? Anybody that wants to get into swing longs, it's a bad idea. At least for me anyway, in my understanding. You can do whatever you want. Let's go. Smash up the like button. Vamos a ver cuántos likes we do have. How many likes we do have? Let's go. Waiting for more info on the long. That is a sensible way of trading as well. That is a sensible, right? Sniper trades, you need to take the shot, right? You need to take the shot. Manage risk. A lot of people in the comment section here. Here we go. We're rolling over. Let's see. You know, let's see, of course. Let's see. Let's see. Much love. Much love. But yeah, more information for the long position would be yeah, I mean, this is very, very corrective momentum here, I have to say. This is the 1 minute time frame, so ideally at least you want to go 5 minute. 1 minute can be very, very noisy. But yeah, more information on the long. I wouldn't know how I could give you more information on this long position. Ideally, you form some kind of a 5-wave move here and a very corrective structure later before taking out the highs. And yeah, the highs is take profit, because you could double bottom, double top nastily, right? Nasty double top. So the highs always needs to be your take profit zone. Always, you know, at least your first TP. Because at this point, where we at from the last few days, we are looking for double tops at this point. You know, the price to double top, triple top. Momentum is getting lost here. You know, we need to understand that. despite people being a bull flag in 5 minutes. Yeah, a little bit of a bullishy flaggy move on the 5 minute. Enter short BTC at 98k. What a legend. I'm not sure on what exchange, because 98k was not hit. You're trying to brag here with your 98k short position. We didn't even hit 98k. Maybe on another exchange, yes, okay, but not on Coinbase. But yeah, it would have been this just slightly below 97.8k would have been a nice double top right there when we consider the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That kind of would have been a acceptable entry. Stop loss above the high. Think this will make it to 98. I think it probably it might. It might. Lots of likes at 98. Guys, I'm going to go around the table. Let's see if we can get it to 300 likes. Vamos, vamos, come on. We provide education. We talk about Bitcoin. If we do have an entry, we have it, then we take it. Local double bottom. Where we currently are at this moment, for me, no shorts, no longs. Where we currently at. This one right over here, based on the reading, possible ABC, possible 3 waiver here with a lot of noise, 3 waiver here, flat here, taking out the lows. Best entry would have been here. Here, I just don't. I understand the price could recover. I understand the price could form a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? The high is in, right? It's just not an area that I want to get into a position at the moment. Yeah, well, I'm leaning more bullish. Am I leaning more bullish? I'm gonna long it. I'm a little bit worried about all of a sudden, all this sudden pumps come back to origin. Sometimes they do, I have to say. Sometimes they do. You know, we on the higher time frame, I'm favoring a correction. Okay, on the higher time frame, when we zoom out, I am favoring a correction. You know, this is literally trying to look for the last little movement. Do we take out the highs again or not? It's only that at the moment. So the problem here with positioning in shorts is you need to have an invalidation, and you know, for me, an invalidation is a high or a low. So do I want to jump into a short right now where we at and have my invalidation at the highs and consider either waiting for, on the lower time frame, the 5-wave move to the upside where I can detect the 5th wave, right, coming into levels of resistance. Well, there we don't have much. We don't have much above 98k, I have to say. They're all slightly above 100k. So, but it's detecting the 5 waiver, right? And that's where I would prefer to get into the short, to have my stop loss above the high. The problem, if I short right now, I don't have a, you know, there is the chance for the bulls to take out the highs and continue pumping till the wave finishes, right? Which we're gonna have to analyze. If I short right now, when you have, you know, so much room, you just, the risk to reward is ridiculous, right? It's just not worth it. So if I shorted it right now with the possibility of getting a correction down in the next coming days, and maybe like really nuking down, right? I kind of have to put the stop loss at the high, right? But as mentioned, if you want to go with 0.5%, just so you're positioned and give a bit of room for stop loss, you ain't going to make much if you roll over, but you ain't going to lose much if you pump aggressively, right, to the 9900K levels. If I entered here, I need to have a stop loss, and that would have to be eventually the high. So I'm this for me would literally be a missed short position. If we roll over from here, based on the information that we have, I'm still seeing the possibility for the bulls. This doesn't look very impulsive. It should be a leading diagonal. If it is going to be a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, then this has to be another 1 and 2, unless you form a flat. But yeah, leading diagonal here, flat, wouldn't be looking too great. Leading diagonal and a flat is not a great combination for the bearish case, but I mean, it could definitely happen. So it's maybe an SFP execution here from the highs at 97.2. Maybe could give you an execution, move down, be defensive, and just understand that it would be a minor loss if the prices ends up being bullish and takes out the highs, managing risk. But I have seen it, of course, before, where you have a move down that looks very tricky, and then you have a flat, and then the price rolls over, right? There are some examples on that kind of price action. When we zoom out, where do we have one? Yeah, here. Here was one of them. I think, right? I'm not sure if we were counting. This was back. I remember this back in December. We have the highs right there. I mean, this is the. Let me zoom in. Let me go on the. Let me try and go on the 15-minute here and zoom out. Not sure if Tradingview is going to have the power to load the data here from. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm going way back. Just to give you an example here of that movement. I mean, this was very, very exaggerated, I have to say. Very, very exaggerated. But you got that possible impulsive move down. We had news on this day, on Wednesday, the 10th of December. I think it was the FOMC, or I don't know what it was, but we had some news this day. But the probabilities of forming a lower high were higher because you had an impulsive move to the downside. And then we had this movement. You took the lows and then take out the highs, and literally a flat. So ABC flat here and then move down. So would I consider this scenario where we are at the moment, moving forward, where you can take out these highs and roll over and form a lower high? We're going to have to see how we take out those highs, but it's very, very messy there, and it's nasty. But if you reject from these highs, maybe it does have a chance. Anyway, we are long right now, so screw that. Let's see how the price moves up. Holy smokes, added aggressively on that SFB from the longs. This is the last chunk that I have on the long position, literally adding here to the lows on that SFB, just because I haven't got my other exchanges open here to get into a new long, so I have to compound onto this long position. And so far so good. Anybody long, let me know. I'm in no shorts. I'm interested in shorts. No clear swing short entry in this zone with the information that we have on the chart, and the best long entry here to potentially catch taking out the highs again was right over here in this local double bottom, as explained. Let me just have a drink of water, guys. All right. All right. Let's go through the comment section. Andy feeling risky. Long. Yeah, feeling risky. I lost $12,000. How? Manage risk, guys. This ain't a game for people that like gambling. Manage risk. This is a game that you need to be very, very good with risk management. Long trade explains from the stream, it's either, you know, double bottom from this one or double bottom from this one. And, you know, hey, the risk management is absolutely awesome. Protect position. You know, you cannot turn this trade into a losing trade. I wonder how people manage their risks. I assume that $12,000 is a lot of money for you. Somebody that said, I lost $12,000. Walking Gusta. Long from 88K. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. It's pumping. Didn't catch that low. Going, it's on my trading plan that you teach us. Yes, long, it's on my trading plan that you teach us. Absolute legend. My capital is 1K, bro. Not to worry. If you have experience, you can build it up slowly. This whole thing about doubling and tripling an account in a month, it's very, very difficult, I have to say. You need to scale up slowly and consistently. Making 100% of your account in a month is... I don't do that. I don't do that. 5%, 10%, 15% in a month is realistic, but 100% is not realistic at all. Real struggle to hold on to my winners, letting them run. Working on the discipline. I mean, look, I know, you know, if this doesn't take out the highs and say we're defensive on this double bottom entry, right, locally, and price comes down and takes you out, it's, you know, you obviously get you're obviously pissed off. So it's always good if there is a bearish case, even though it doesn't look extremely great, for a double 1-2. We are still uptrending. We still give the bulls a chance to take out the highs. You know, you just scratch some off the table, right? Just at least to cover, you know, a little bit of the position size eventually. Take 30%, right? And leave a runner. But yeah, I'm going to give the last squeeze here to take out the highs, compounding into that long position based on this SFB, right? So the thing about compounding as well, because this long position that I'm holding from since last Thursday's long trade on stream, this position is the same position that I had from last Thursday. And depending on the price action that is developed, I will add to that original position from last Thursday. This was an SFP from the lows, taken as a day trade. So you can turn that day trade into a swing trade, but you need to hold on, right? You need to, if you get wicked out, then it is what it is. Doesn't matter. But that original trade was only a day trade. It was a scalp bounce on that entry. You guys remember? It's still that remaining trade that I compounded here as we were getting the information. And then obviously this latest one just to squeeze the possibility of hitting the high again with that SFP. And only if I do see the possible entry and the possibility of the price moving to get that bounce to take out the highs, that's the moment I will compound into the trade, right? You don't just add to the position because it's going up, right? You add to the position when you can confirm the possibility, right, of a 3-wave structure. You're forming a 5-wave inside of the C wave, you're hitting support and you're looking for the reaction. Then that original trade that you have from lower, you're compounding it to the last higher low, right? Which is the case with this long position that I'm holding from last Thursday. Like really trying to squeeze as much as I can here to maybe take out the highs again. And that trade was from last Thursday, right? From that SFP, which was many reasons. We were analyzing the local waves here, saying that there's lots of overlap. It's very likely not going to get a waterfall from here. I mean, obviously we have that danger of multiple 1-2s, but it wasn't looking good for multiple 1-2s. We were hitting the value area high of this trading zone that we had in December. Big support right there. The probabilities here of nuking down from the low were actually low based on the momentum that we had. And we were hitting the 382 Fibonacci from the low to the high of the range, right? And also the golden pocket from the start of this latest move up that we had 2 weeks ago, right? Golden pocket zone. So it was interesting for this SFP of that candle with a proven support zone, value area high of this range of December. It's just a good execution. And based on the information, I was interested in shorts. I did enter a short here, but I exited on breaking out with high volume. I'm like, yeah, screw that. This is probably not going to form a lower high. So the management of the trade of trading is super important, right? It's just I attempted a lower high here. People in the community know that. But I got out of the trade. So this long over here, there was another long provided on a stream on Monday. With that 5-wave move to the downside, right? I'm not sure if you guys remember that. Anybody here that's a legit follower when we go through the lower time frame. And I wasn't taking into consideration the flat here. So this long was only for a little bounce. But hey, come on, you always leave some open just in case the price proves itself that it's more bullish than you thought, right? But this was a pretty solid execution. One of these SFPs, I remember, I was already long, so not sure if anybody executed this 5th wave sweeping up the low, right? Which is very similar. I wouldn't say the same, but you get the point. This is your move. This is your bounce. This is a lower high, so that would have to be your wave 2. In the case of counting this as a possible 5 wave, a big move down, the bounce does not overlap this pivot, so that it immediately converts into a possible wave 4. Then the double bottom here looks interesting. And when you count the entire structure, then yeah, an ABC, a C wave needs to have 5 waves. So it's literally really catching the C wave low potential here. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what the people are saying, guys. We had a great promo. We got lots of people, new people in the community, okay, which is we've been working on for many months to combine everything together. And now you can join. Of course, you have the DMs open. Just send me the word join and I'll share with you the instructions, okay, as well, to get into the community if you wish, the trading community, where there's daily updates every single day, setups, education, you got news as well, channel, all sorts, guys. DM me join if you are interested in joining the trading community. Of course, we had a promotion going on till yesterday. Whoever joined, welcome, and whoever hasn't joined, then you have the option of joining. I'll let you know, of course, how to join. Bluffin Exchange, guys. I am super happy with Bluffin. Been trading on Bluffin for over a year now, and they have great deals for the people. You get VIP 1 for 30 days for the new signups, okay, and you get a $1,000 deposit if you deposit more than 10k. Okay, it does take about 3 days to get that reward, and you get more rewards and airdrops as you trade and go. Bluffin is an awesome trading platform. I really like it. Been trading there for over a year right now. And you have the affiliate link down below, of course, which gives you all of those different perks. Let's go 75k. Yeah, I mean, this is we don't want to get too bullish when we've already been bullish, right? It's the moment to get ready for shorts. I'm not in a short yet, and you know, if we roll over from here, I'm probably going to miss the high. You know, there's still bullish reasons. There's still reasons to believe that the high could be taken. So yeah, I mean, when I have these reasons that this could be a 3-waver, this is a 3-waver, this is a 3-waver, right? There's reasons to believe that the highs are going to be taken. So if we were to roll over, guys, I'm not in the short. It would be a miss short position for me, unfortunately. But it's just I don't have the epic entry for the short. Would have been here. The epic short would have been here on this 5th wave yesterday night or early this morning, depending on where you're at. 5th wave double top. So what I would want to see, hopefully tomorrow, if we were to take out the highs for me to enter the short, is something similar to this. Get the rally, get another impulse, regardless of where it is or where it finishes or how it develops. You know, I want to see this kind of structure. 99, 100k, 102k on the 5th wave, right? But really look for that 5th wave to, you know, and then that's where I would be very interested in already joining into that short. Because on the higher time frame, you know, we are looking for the rollover. You know, it is going to happen. It is going to happen eventually, right after this big move that we've had in the last few days. You know, and you know, all understanding the movement that we got on the 15-minute, 30-minute time frame, right? It's not looking too great. It's okay. I missed the short if we roll over, right? It's just everything didn't move to plan for me to execute that short, so I didn't take it, right? But yeah, it is looking extremely interesting for those shorts eventually. So let's see if, I mean, if we do take out the highs, and depending on what price action we have tomorrow, or if we roll over, or if we're trading here to the upside, I might wake up tomorrow morning with the community and it's like we got a nice solid 5-waver here, and the 5-waver, right, getting it stretching here to 100 or 102k. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. The next, you know, trying to look for how we move up and detecting that momentum is what we need to do, because, you know, the 5th waves can be a little bit tricky as well. They can double top, they can extend a little bit longer. It really does. It is all into looking at the 15-minute time frame, 30-minute, 15-minute, and maybe even the 5-minute, just to really count the exhaustion right there. The bigger move has happened, so we are really looking at the end stages of this movement up, which could still pump a couple of more $1,000 above 98k. It's just done. So we're going to have to see. But taking out the highs is very, very much possible still. I don't like the CVDs. CVD is not that great. Bit of bearish CVDs here. Bit of higher highs on CVD and lower highs on price action. That is not great. Very locally here. But structure is what matters at the end of the day. Andy, ponme al día que estaba haciendo una entrevista y estoy en el long todavía. Veo que le está costando romper los highs. Erofosties, much love to you. Vamos, ponme al día. Tiene la posibilidad de romper los altos. Tiene la posibilidad. There is the potential. We trade possibilities, right? We trade possibilities. We trade good risk management. We trade good entries. This has the potential of a three-waver. And this has the potential of taking out the highs, right? The potential is there. So we're going to have to hope on the potential. Is there a valid finished impulse? I have to say the impulsive move has to start from here. There's no, I mean, we were considering this a wave 1 and a wave 2, right? A WXY kind of messy structure. Your wave 2 is like, 7 times longer than your wave 1. I would rather combine all of this into a WXY right there. And this is all of the correction right there that finishes here because we moved down in a 5-waver. So this new move for me starts exactly here at these lows. So and when you see this without taking into consideration the little waves on the lower time frame, which is what we do when we do Elliott wave theory, right? We always try, do we have another 1, 2 here? Do we get another 4 and 5, right? You're like really trying to determine, is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is this a 1, 2 and the 3 wave is here because you have the highest amount of volume and you still have a 4 and a 5. That's where you just really taking into consideration the possibilities, right? Which is the main reason of this long position here, right? If this is going to take out the highs again, it seriously needs to bounce from this zone. When we consider also the channel. Channel is important. You've touched the low, so you're already decreasing in probabilities. If it had to go, it has to go from here, right? You already hit the lower part of the channel when you connect your wave 1 and 2 of the channel, right? The channel is connected from here. Your wave 3 gets out of the channel. The wave 4 gets to the topper side of the channel, and that's where it gets supported usually. And when you start crossing to the lower part of the channel, if you break it, then that's literally it. You're forming a new wave. This wave is finished. So really the last chance here to take out the highs. Really the last chance in the next coming hours. And we need to consider that the 5-waver is finished as well. So I mean, maybe an SFP, if I'm around, maybe if we do sweep up the local highs, maybe it actually could be an okay short position stop at the highs. Just because you have the movement down for a possible leading diagonal. and I mean, a leading diagonal and then a flat is not the best. It's not the best. Usually after a diagonal you want, you know, a zigzag. But yeah, what can we say? Could we just sweep up the highs? This ends up being a flat. I mean, this would be my potential execution, maybe, to enter a short if it doesn't break out solidly. If it breaks out solidly and then you come down, I won't take that SFP. Just very, very internally, because I do know, I mean, it does have the potential of being the end. So I think, you know, the best execution would be an SFP. If it does SFP from here, it could be an entry. This could be a wave one. This could be a flat. And then the price really rolls over, right, in the next coming days. So a flat, even though a flat is not very common after a leading diagonal, but regardless, it would just be sweep the low, sweep the highs. We don't take the highs, and, you know, then it starts moving down aggressively in that third wave. So I think the best execution here would be an SFP of the highs, just to manage risk. If you break out solidly, then yeah, we're looking for that 5 waver to develop until tomorrow, to see where we at tomorrow. But yeah, that would only be a possibility here, which would be cheeky, right? Sweep the low, sweep the highs, ends up being a flat, ends up being a wave 2, and then you break down wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. It would be the only short that I would be interested in executing. You need the SFP, right? You don't SFP, you don't execute that short. So I'm just happy to see if the long is going to play out from the lows to maybe take out the highs. You know, I'm favoring at this moment that this could still be a 3-wave structure and still going to maintain. You know, this is the last squeeze of the long. Gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it. I was thinking of taking, because I did get in aggressively with the rest of the position here to the lows, adding compounding into this long, and it would be nice to take. I'm gonna give it a chance here for the highs, as explained on stream. We'll see. If it doesn't, then what can we say? Legends, much love to everybody. Maybe 78k soon. Holy smokes, that's miles away. The overall higher time frame projection would be that this would be literally looking at this, right? WXY, double zigzag, and we're literally looking at the price action to top out and roll over in the next coming weeks. Now it's all about, do we take the highs or not? How high does it go if we take out the highs? Trading is exhausting, it is, and it's boring. Always thankful for the lives. Trick Rick, much love to you. Prepara tus mejillas. CBM, damn, we got tennis tomorrow. Much love, my man. Yes, prepara tus mejillas. Prepare your cheeks. Nice one. Vamos, vamos. Maybe 78k soon. Crypto regulation has been delayed. We're going to have to see 97.1. You're very welcome, Trick Rick. Smash the like, guys. We are almost above 300. We need to get the live streams above 300 likes, guys. Come on, I'm just going to go around the table and see if we can get 100k incoming after the dip. Put on mascara. Much love. Let me go around the table, get a sip of water, and we'll go through the comment section. Okay. Salud. Oh, bit of vodka. Okay. We almost took out these highs on the 1 minute, so maybe it is going to do a little bit of a flashy move here, a bit of a flat structure potentially, and then maybe get the bounce. The fact that we didn't take out the highs of this bounce and just almost took it. Vamos a ver. Let's see what the people are saying in the comment section. Much love. What trade did you take today? Well, I compounded into the long position, but the execution was this local double bottom. Very, very much a potential of a double bottom here to maybe take out the highs. I mean, this is the risk to reward on these SFBs are great, but the main reason of this trade was looking at this movement down as a 5-wave move down, double bottom. We've got lots of support, resistance support flip with high volume, and literally speculating here in a ABC or a W, X, and then a flat NY. But yeah, literally this long to maybe take out the highs right in the next coming hours. And a bearish case, which there is one eventually if you don't take out these highs, would be a 1-2-1-2, right? And then you just roll over in the third wave. But the execution is good, and that's the main long. I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to see if we do take out those highs. Position is protected. I'm going to set a significant TP at 98k and see if it does get that up there overnight. If it doesn't, well, what can we do? This is trading. If it doesn't get up there, what can we do? Hopefully it does. One more high or not, guys? Do we hit above 98k, 100k in between today and tomorrow? Let me know in the comment section. Around the table clockwise, you're damn right. Much love to everybody. Yeah, added to the previous long. This long trade is from last Thursday, but overall the execution was given on stream. Just because I do have another BTC. I do have some but I don't have it open. But yeah, for anybody that wanted a new trade, this was literally the execution here, right? Maybe to take out the highs. Entry in this zone as the double bottom, and maybe it does take out the highs in the coming hours. $16k profit, yeah. Yes, it is. You're living my dream. It's been many years, many years. I've been in investing since 2017 and got into crypto heavily in 2018. So it's been a lot of years now. 86k, Rubesh. 86k. Yeah, I mean, with that, of course, the liquidity is disturbing, right? When we zoom out, we've created new liquidity up, guys, which is interesting, just to get those little last pushers before we reversal. But yeah, obviously, this is what is disturbing, right? The amount of liquidity that we do have below 87, 86k, right? And this is why somebody in the comment section, I assume, right? Even though we do have that bearish scenario, we are looking for this to really top out in this zone. It's just really looking to top out. So, and I do like to short. But I like how to execute the shorts as well. So it would be a missed short position if we roll over for me. The big boys are selling a lot of spot BTC. Yeah, it's interesting because when you go on X and we get the pumps, you're going to get the people bullish and start posting these this bullish BS. Funding rates flip negative. Spot driven Bitcoin rallies are the strongest rallies, right? And then just the next day, you're going to see a bunch of people selling Bitcoin, right? Never good, these rallies, when you consider the overall structure that we have, which is a bunch of BS. It's I'm literally really looking at the price to top out in this region with another high or not another high. It's just, it really is. And you get all of people being bullish, this rally is awesome. And yeah, this rally's coming to its end stages, I can tell you that. What I missed, not much, just a little bit of overall analysis on the higher time frame, lower time frame, and execution for a long. Short for me is not valid at the moment, even though I realize that the price could roll over. Many reasons to believe that we are coming to the end stages. I just haven't got that proper execution on the short. But you can, depending on how you. Can we short here, stop loss at the highs, and wait for the breakdown, right? Wave 1, wave 2. Does it have the potential of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3? Starts breaking down overnight? Absolutely. If you get stopped out, then you just realize that you need to wait for that end of the 5th wave, right? To execute that short trade later on here to then get into the big short. But I would rather miss the short and get into a short maybe on sign of weakness, big proper sign of weakness in the next coming days, because there will be a chance it's just going to take a few days. If we are going to move down impulsively, if the move down is going to be a solid impulse, there will be a bounce, right? There will be a bounce, and we'll try and get into that swing short bounce. I will try and get into that swing short bounce, because the possibilities eventually of coming down to this higher low, right, to sweep up that huge amount of liquidity that we have beneath us, right? I am looking for that to happen. I just haven't got the solid execution for the short where we are at the moment. So ideally, ideally for me, I would miss a significant part of the move down if this ends up being a double 1 2 or a 1 ABC flat and then third wave down, and then obviously the 4 and 5, right? Then the bounce has to be the moment where I need to look for the short, the corrective one. So I won't be shorting from here to possibly look for the move down. I'll have to look for a short in the next coming days once we finish the impulse and the bounce looks very staircasey to the upside, right? And then obviously, hopefully, we're looking for the wave 3 later on. So no shorts on my side at the moment with this catching the Pico top. It's not clear that it's weak. The only thing that you can fit in here for weakness is a double 1 2. and you have to form a lower high here, or a flat here in your wave 2, wave 1, wave 2, possible flat. You're really like speculating on these moves to happen. It's still very, very strong. The bulls have a chance still to hit the highs. This is not the swing short bounce though. Yeah, no, not enough weakness, not enough sign of strength. This move still can be very much counted as corrective, right? You know, it still can be counted as a three wave, right? It's still very looks corrective. Still, it looks corrective. You move down here like this, bang, 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 and then the bounce looks corrective, then yeah, this is looking great for the short. But that's not the case. Guys, thank you very much for joining. Damn, sorry about that. Much love to everybody. Remember, if you want to join the community, the trading community, you got the link down below. Okay, we've been working on the community for the last few months to combine everything. We've got myself, the rest of the coaches such as Devil and Dylan in there, very active community. You have the Telegram down below if you are interested, guys. We'll be back giving updates here tomorrow or late tonight. And if you are not trading anywhere, you do have bluffing, you do have the decentralized option Velto, which has extremely low fees, guys. Velto has 0.02 taker fee and it connects directly to your wallet. Absolutely awesome decentralized platform, guys. Check it out if you want extremely low fees and no middleman. Guys, thank you for the support. Thank you for smashing the like button. Let's get to 300 likes before the end of the stream. And I will see you tomorrow, legend. Thank you. Price exhaustion visible. It definitely is, okay? It definitely is exhausting. And, you know, on the higher time frame, we are looking for that bigger move down. The question is, do we take out the highs again or not? One more time. You know, it's still there, right? Not easy to see that this is a strong sign of weakness. Not yet anyway, right? A flat here for a C wave. Anybody that is awake or is willing to attempt it, if you reject from the local highs, it is a possible execution and you're just hoping for the price to roll over. If it starts dancing around here, get out because it's another correction, right? Much love, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Awesome stream and superb tips. You're very welcome. Take care, legend. Joe, Vemyo, silent the haters. Cyrus, yeah, I know. Where is he? I don't know. He's gone. Legends, thank you for joining. I will see you tomorrow, okay? If you want more, you know where we at. DM down below here in the Telegram to join the community. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.